Expo 2017. Let me tell you something. A few years ago, there was a huge music festival called the Monsters of Rock. This panel is the Monsters of Bodybuilding. So prepare yourself for the gentlemen that define the sport today. Guys with names like Hani and Jay and Danny and Steve, they are here to take your questions. If you're interested in bodybuilding, if you want to be a bodybuilder yourself, now is a golden opportunity for you to talk directly with the superstars of bodybuilding. Hani, come on up, man. He is a trainer of champions. Hani, it's amazing to have you here. And what do you expect for the Olympia this year?
Oh, hopefully another win.
I love it. This guy is always involved with the winners of the Olympia. And Steve, come on up, man. He is one of the most powerful and massive bodybuilders on the scene today. He does have to buy 2 airline seats wherever he goes, which is kind of a financial drag because he is so broad, looking your best. Hey man, what are you expecting today?
For what?
What are you expecting today?
Yeah, just to see everybody. It's great to be here. This is an awesome turnout, and Fit Expo is a great event for everybody, so thanks for having me here. We're going to share some knowledge with you.
He's an all-max athlete, and he can lift anything you could ever imagine. And Mr. Jay Cutler, the name defines bodybuilding. I had breakfast with him this morning. He had about 4 times as much food as I had, and I was stuffed. He came all the way from Las Vegas today. Jay, it's great to have you here. Amazing, amazing. And last but not least, Danny Hester, Mr. Olympia, is currently with us. He's going to come up on stage in 2 seconds. His classic physique, when he takes off his shirt, people faint. We actually have smelling salts back here, so if he does remove it, all of you will be woken up from your deep coma. But today's the day that we really want to find out the secrets of bodybuilding. These guys are going to tell us the reasons and the methods that they use to be champions. And let's start with Hani. If someone wants to become a bodybuilder today, and they're quite ambitious, what are the first things that they should do?
Honestly, end up following any of the guys up here. Make sure you pick up those magazines. We used to do that back in the day because there was no social media. So we'd be able to get information, whether it was training programs, whether it was diets, whether it was reading about supplements, and getting that information and being able to utilize it. But right now, whether it's Jay's site or Steve's site or my site, you can get a lot of information, Google it, whether it's an old magazine article or whether it's newer content, and get information on training or actually follow it. I know Jay does a lot of training on his Snapchat as well as his IG, and Steve the same way. So you can follow the people that you really kind of want to emulate or get information from, and that's the best way to do it nowadays. Back in the day, there was only the magazines. Now you can actually get it one-on-one, real-time, from your fan, whoever you're a fan of.
Fantastic. And to follow up, the difference between a good bodybuilder and a great bodybuilder, you seem to produce great bodybuilders. What is that extra bit?
It's about mindset. All the guys at the top level genetically are very gifted. It's just a matter of who's willing to sacrifice and put in the work. If you look at Jay's track record against Ronnie and being second for so many times and not giving up, then that was it. And let's just say Ronnie wasn't around. Jay would have won probably, I don't know, how many, Jay, if Ronnie wasn't around, how many Olympias would he have won? 20. He would have been 20-time Olympia champion. So, it's just really a matter of being tenacious and really not taking no for an answer. So it's what makes somebody not give up is what's going to make the difference between being a legend and everybody else.
That's a great answer. Answers from the very, very best. Now, Steve, you kind of remind me of Amazon.com because every time I see you, you're expanding dramatically. What is the secret to constantly evolving in the gym?
Constantly evolving in the gym. I think it's like Ronnie said, taking knowledge that you learn from people that you follow. I've worked with Ronnie, and a lot of the trainers that are out there that are really credible, like guys like Ronnie and George Farrow I work with, and some really good, knowledgeable people. You can follow what they're doing, and you have to continually educate yourself by reading stuff that is factual, not believing everything you see, but educate yourself. And you know, learn from your mistakes when you're doing things, learn your body, that's very important. And I think, you know, a lot of people, they have misconceptions about certain foods. They think carbs are bad. They think you know, it's too much protein. Again, learn your body. That's probably the number one thing. And then again, is pushing yourself. It's a mindset thing too. Pushing yourself in the gym, getting past pain thresholds, and taking yourself, because you're doing things that a lot of people can't do in life, as far as the pain thresholds, the amount of dedication that you have to really change your body. Doing these things are really going to help achieve your goals fitness-wise.
Fantastic. Now, Jay Cutler, you retired from bodybuilding and yet you've stayed in top shape. You have a brutal travel schedule. What's the secret to being able to travel and yet stay in the very best shape?
Okay, first of all, welcome everyone for coming out. Thank you guys for your patience and of course for supporting us. Probably the hardest part about being a professional bodybuilder and being in demand for guest appearances is definitely the traveling and trying to step out of your element and maintain training and consistency with the diet. A lot of days you see now the meal preparation, there's a lot of companies that ship food. We didn't have that even 10 years ago, so we had to prepare. We would take food with us. We'd eat cold food. We eat food we didn't want to eat, because most of the bodybuilding food we hate to eat anyway because it tastes like shit. So it was really just staying on a good diet. I've been able to maintain still through training and a consistent diet, somewhat of a physique. I mean, I'm not what I was when I was competing. I've lost about 60 pounds, but I think now I still eat a great breakfast. I still eat a great meal before and after training, which I stay consistent with that at least 4 days a week with the weights. And I eat at least 5 meals a day, and I think eating smaller portionate meals is still the key to any kind of physique, whether you weight train or don't weight train. Any athlete, anyone that's putting output of calories has to eat enough calories in order to maintain energy. And also, if you're trying to build muscle, you're going to maintain that muscle mass. So I think have the meal time and meal consistency, eating every 3 hours, has been ideal for me to be able to maintain some sort of a body, being over 40 and retired. So that's what I continue to do.
Fantastic. And last but not least, the current Mr. Olympia on stage, Danny Hester. It's such a pleasure to have a champion here. Now, like Bruno Mars, when you step on stage, you are so smooth and sleek, and your physique goes above everyone else. Everyone looks good, and you look great. What's that big difference?
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. So, I won the very first classic, Mr. Olympia. I want to make that clear. The Open Mr. Olympia, which Jay has many titles in, that was always my ideal of bodybuilding. And then, to a certain degree, it became something different than what I could achieve with my physique. So in a way, I wasn't motivated anymore with it. The thing I was motivated by was just the camaraderie and the competition and improving all the time. So for me, it was about just making improvements for yourself. And it teaches you a lot about yourself. You know, I see like regular people that don't compete, how hard it must be to stay in shape and maintain, you know, a certain degree of fitness when there isn't really an end goal out there like when we compete. Because to be honest, one of the main reasons for me competing is to really keep myself at a higher standard, because it really makes me push myself. And that's why I have so much respect for, you know, a lot of the top athletes who are at the highest levels. When they're finished, that they do stay in shape. That's why I really respect Jay, and I admire him so much, because I mean, he looks incredible now. I mean, he still looks like a top level athlete, you know, and that's the thing is when you get older, you have to have that inner drive. And for me, you know, when I realized that bodybuilding went a certain direction that wasn't, you know, as far as for my type of physique that I was really able to achieve, I didn't look at that as what pushed me anymore. I had to look within myself and just improve myself of what I thought, you know, my body could really have the full potential to being the best at. So I think all those years I kept true to doing that and just improving myself. And then just the classic division came along, which was basically what I was always, you know, striving for, is the classic look, because I wasn't going to be a mass monster. And And so just keeping true to myself all those years, and the classic division came along, it was a really, no-brainer for me. And I was very fortunate and blessed to be awarded, the first classic Mr. Olympia. And that's what I always try to preach to people is try to be the best that you can be, that your physique is made, what you can do with it. Don't try to be like someone else because you're always going to fall short. So you want to look at yourself and look at your own potential, and you know in your heart what you can do and what you can achieve, and that's what you strive for, not someone else's, ideal, what they look like. You should always just believe in yourself and just make improvements on yourself every single day. Little steps is what's going to get you there. It's not one big step. It's not hiring a trainer or this and that to really think that it's going to change you, because it's going to have to start changing within yourself and believing in yourself first. And it's the little tiny steps every single day that add up. It's not the big hard workouts you think you have to do that you see in the magazines and on videos. Those are great. Those are awesome times to have. But those aren't what's going to make a champion or what's going to make you successful. It's the little steps every single day, getting up and just doing the 10 minutes of cardio. Even if you're supposed to do, half an hour, just do at least 10 or 15 minutes. Because every day you do that, you're going to get stronger and you're going to get better, and it's going to be easier for you to do. So the word of advice I can give is just stay true and try to be the best that you can be every day, just little steps. Especially with your diet too, just little things. You cut out little crap that you normally eat. It doesn't have to be a big change in your diet, but little steps in your diet every day can make a difference. It all adds up.
Beautiful. Who's motivated here? Can you believe the words of wisdom? I mean, these guys are young, but they speak like Gandalf. They should have long, gray beards. I mean, this is so cool. Now, I'm going to ask them one more question, and then we're going to turn our focus on you. You will get a chance to ask these champions the questions that are on your mind. One last question. What common mistake do people make that mess them up when they're striving for excellence? What piece of advice could you give? Jay, you want to go first?
What was the question? I was too busy looking at your shirt.
Hey, listen.
How do you get that shirt?
If you want to get this shirt, you have to come to my booth and do 10 push-ups. It's very challenging, but these shirts fit pretty well.
Where's your booth at?
My booth is way over there, the Celebrity Sweat booth, right by the stage, and you will have a great time because I'll tell you some good jokes too. All right.
All right, so what is the question?
The question is common mistakes that people make along the way on being a champion.
I think the biggest mistake is everyone tries to rush and they make too many changes and don't follow their own path, like Danny was saying. You have to find the group that works best for you. The most important thing about fitness is it has to fit into your lifestyle. So meaning, for the average person that works a job or goes to school, you have to find the best. There's not a wrong or right time to work out. It's the time that fits into your schedule the most, that you can do it on a consistent basis without falling off. So it's about living the lifestyle and finding what direction works best for you. If you're a night trainer, if you're a morning trainer, sometimes we train in the middle of the night. There's no right or wrong. It just has to be consistent and fit into your meal patterns. Remember, there's a lot of variables that go into being the best with a physique and feeling good about yourself and your end goal. So whatever that goal may be, just try to make sure everything fits right and you don't rush into it or just do something that is off track for what your lifestyle is.
Excellent. Steve, what do you say?
I think a common mistake a lot of people do when it comes to fitness is they listen to too many people when they're trying to get ready for a show or achieve a fitness goal. It's kind of like the saying, too many cooks in the kitchen, but when I always tell people, find yourself a trainer, find somebody you trust, and follow what they say. Now it's okay to maybe ask questions about what other people are doing, but you don't take that advice necessarily. Listen to there's a million ways to skin a cat, but listen to the coach that you're working with, your trainer, and they'll lead you to the direction and get you to where you need to be.
Honey?
I think too many people go online trying to find some kind of, online guru, especially when they're starting out, and I think it's a huge mistake. I think what people should do is find a local trainer that can help them, not only with the information of the diet, but also with proper form and being able to get through workouts. And then if you decide to compete, you'll actually have somebody there to be able to take you through all the steps, whether it's, the contest preparation, the cardio, the suit selection, tanning, all the little intricacies. But when you get somebody directly online, especially in the very beginning, you have so many gaps that need to be filled that you can. and there's no real good base. So you really need a good base by being able to get the proper technique and form down on your exercises, and then be able to have somebody who can actually help regulate your diet and see you in person. And then once you get to that level, then you can start moving up when you start competing, or if you're trying to get more serious and you want different point of views or different philosophies.
Fantastic. This advice, by the way, is so valuable. I feel like we should all be paying them tons of money. This is really unusual. And Danny, any advice? Common mistakes that people make along the way?
I think they like I was saying earlier, is they always look at other people as far as, that's just human nature, as far as like how much other people make, as far as money and what they do, and, the significant other that they're with, how much beautiful they are. It's always, you gotta be satisfied with what you have, number one. Because if you're satisfied with what you have, you're gonna take your time and you're gonna learn patience. You don't want to always look at other people and what their games are, because they're not you. And you're the only you, and you gotta own that. Even nobody can be better than you because they're not you. So you gotta understand that. And that's the real difference, where I sometimes used to get intimidated about other athletes and people, how they look, how much gains they've made, and I haven't really made progress. I might be a plateau. So you're gonna try to look for these quick fixes, and a lot of times that's where a lot of these young athletes, even older athletes, that think they can make gains. There's some secret out there. There isn't a secret out there. If it's a secret out there, it's not going to be beneficial to you. It's going to be short term, so don't go for those quick fixes. It's about, just like Connie was saying, it's about getting that base, that foundation really strong. I mean, I even turn to that. When sometimes I get a little bit doubtful and say, I'm not making the gains I should, I go back and say, am I doing the basics first? If I'm not eating correctly, doing the basics as far as the training, I don't even need to worry about the advanced stuff that I should be doing that someone else is doing. So it really comes down to just the basic foundation that everyone can agree on that works. You just go back to that and just take your time, because you can be the best you, and no one else can be you. So that's what you have to really remember, and you're gonna. It's a lifelong journey people don't realize. I mean, look at Jay. He's done being the top in the world for many years. No one can deny that. And he's still amazing physique where people would love to look like him. So, because he's the best him. Nobody could ever beat Jay Cutler or Jay Cutler. So he's got to be the best Jay Cutler for what he's doing at the time. Same thing with me. Whether I win another Olympia or not, I'm still going to make improvements and take my time at it, because it's a lifelong journey. You're always going to be improving. I want to be the best looking me at 80 years old, where people can be like really motivated. And that's really a lot now that I'm getting older, that really drives me, is motivating young athletes and people, seeing me just living proof of, what I do, and taking your time, and you can always get better. I'm the best I've ever been at 48 years old. And I'm just going to keep trying to make improvements. And for me, I'm always winning. That's one thing you have in control. You don't have control of a lot of things. You really have control of what you do with your body.
Beautiful. How about a big hand for these amazing panelists? Unbelievable. Now the golden hour is here. We want to turn the microphone over to you. Who has questions for these great champions? Raise your hand and we'll hand you the mic.
How you doing, Danny? I have a question. What made you come back after you took a long time off? Because I used to follow you since I was a kid. Since I was like, man, I can't remember. I have photos of you all over my bedroom, making sure I can stay well motivated. So I do have a lot of respect for you guys. Also Jay too. I've been following you for a long time. I'm 41 years old. And what made you come back to 2006 Muscle Beach, and after a long time off? What was really, how did you get motivated to come back? Do you have it all planned out, or what was your, pretty much, after you done it all?
I just felt that, I still had a lot to offer in the sport, and I was doing a lot of things, when I wasn't competing, that had a lot to do with the fitness industry. I was designing fitness equipment, I had gyms, so I always had a passion for that, the supplement side of it. So I've kind of done everything and learned a lot about the fitness industry and all aspects of it. But I knew that my passion for it first came from me, and it's improving myself. And like I said, I felt like I haven't achieved myself best. And the only way to do that really is to do a competition, I feel. I think everyone should compete. It doesn't matter if you win or not. The winning is at the end of the day when you've gone on stage and did that show, you're an elite. You've gone from just being like a weekend warrior to you can meet that commitment. You know, whether you placed or not, it doesn't matter. You achieved something that you did to make yourself go to that next level. And for me, I just felt like I needed that push, so I had to get back into competitive. You know, because when you're out around what I call civilians, people that really, you know, don't really do it as a living, it's easy to get, you know, the praise and acknowledgement from people who say, oh, you look great and this and that, but you know in your heart, you're way better. And this is not enough, you know, as far as like get the accolades from regular people. You want to be one of the best and you want to achieve the best that you can be, because who knows what happens in life. I can be hit by a truck and I would always regret not really pushing myself to see what I can do as my best. And just that's, for me, you know, a personal, I guess, win. That's the Olympia for me, is when I feel I push myself to what I think is the best and I put that in history. To me, that's winning. So whether, you know, like I said, if I don't win another Olympia or not, but I'm making gains for myself, that's what it's about. So you have to realize that it's about just making yourself better, you know, just getting better all the time.
Fantastic. A true champion, Danny Hester. Other questions? Questions, raise your hand. Ow, ow! It's a one-in-a-lifetime chance. All right, I have a question. Oh, is there a question? Let's hear it.
I just have a random question about how has social media changed the sport of bodybuilding?
Hani, you want to tackle that one?
Yeah, I'll start off with it, and I'm sure the guys can elaborate. But social media has changed a lot because, like I was alluding to earlier, in the past, bodybuilding was all revolving around the Weider publication magazines. So it was the Flex magazines, it was the Muscle and Fitness magazines. That's what it was really, you were getting all your information. Then, you know, years later, then it was about the boards. You know, whether it was, you know, muscular development, Get Big, Flex Online, it was the boards. Then now, it's really, that's kind of been phased out, and now you're getting that direct response, whether it's Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, and then you're being able to market to your direct fans. So it's a whole different world now. And if you don't do any of those things, then you're really missing out. Because at the end of the day, that's how you develop your own personal brand. You guys want to elaborate on it?
Hani knows.
Hani has the answers. Especially for these guys.
I mean, for an athlete that came along the bodybuilding era when the magazines were our only outlet, now we've been able to expand over, and I'm one of the few where I was competing and social media came about, so I was able to cross over, which has been, it's been great. And I can honestly say that walking the streets in normal society, I've become more popular now than I was when I was winning Mr. Olympia competitions where it was strictly magazines. So the exposure is a lot much greater, and the expos are now continuing to get bigger, and we're seeing more people get involved in fitness. And now with, of course, the new divisions and everything being able to have a place on a fitness stage, it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity for people like Danny who walked around the gym, who had a smaller stature. He saw the classic physique open up for him. He came in, he won his first year out with Mr. Olympia, and this guy's been, you know, bodybuilding for over 20 years and looking great. And he found the place for him, he found his niche. So, I mean, social media is really giving the people opportunity to see bigger outlets and see more people to follow, get more motivation. Now you can just click and see what your favorite person is doing on a day-to-day basis, minute to minute, which is amazing.
All right, other questions for these true champions? Other questions?
Don't be shy.
What about classic bodybuilding? Like looking back at Arnold and Franco and those guys, how much do they influence you and the way that your physique looks?
I guess I'll elaborate. The classic bodybuilding, I think that look ultimately this is what brought the sport to where it is today. I think you know, the classic physique, the men's physique, and bodybuilding, it's somewhere in the middle of all that is what classic bodybuilding is. And I mean, me personally, and I think a lot of people like to see bodybuilding go a little bit more in that direction again, and bring back just a little bit cleaner lines and reward a physique that is more complete versus just a freak body part, you know? And I think it is going that way. You know, I think the current Mr. Olympia Phil has a very complete physique, and there's not a lot of weak points to, and that's what Mr. Olympia is all about. It's just having really the best package overall. And I think the sport has done well at that over the last few years, getting away from necessarily the mass. I think when Jay brought the 2009 Mr. Olympia, that was probably, did you say that's your best Olympia? Connie would.
What was your best Olympia, Jay? One. You didn't even win.
Go ahead. The judges were blind that year. I can say that now. The judges screwed me. Screw everybody.
But it's classic bodybuilding that really brought the sport to where it is today.
Now, as many of you would surely understand, the sacrifices that these gentlemen make to stay in top condition are real, and they're daily. Can you guys talk a little bit about the sacrifices and the hardships that you face to maintain that top level physique?
Jay's still maintaining.
I don't miss the eating. The eating is the hardest part, staying on a consistent diet and eating the amounts of food to stay the size. I mean, Steve and I are bigger. We require a lot of calories in order to maintain almost 300 pounds off season. And, you know, you have to, in order to get big, you got to eat big. And, you know, that requires, you know, consistent eating and a lot of calories, which is very hard to put down. I mean, I spent sometimes an hour at a time eating each meal just because I was forcing it down, and you know, it doesn't taste good. I mean, no one wants to eat 20 egg whites for breakfast and think that they taste good. If they think they taste good, then there's something really wrong with you, you know? Or a pound of fish every meal, which Connie will relate to that. I mean, I hate fish, and I had to eat it every meal. I was eating 5 pounds of fish a day. But that's what it took in order to get on Olympia stage and be at my biggest and best. But I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed getting the trophy at the end of the day, but the preparation to get there is probably the worst hell you'll ever go through. It's not enjoyable, so needless to say, I'm enjoying the retirement. I admire these guys who are still doing it. Connie, I know you're not eating fish over there. We know that.
I'm only eating sushi, Jay.
Exactly.
I had sushi yesterday, Jay.
I don't mind eating sushi with rice, but you know, you can't eat 500 carbs every time you eat fish.
Did you look good, Jay? Did you look good?
I looked good, yes. I looked good, but I felt like shit.
That's how it goes.
For those of you who don't know, 2009, 10, 11, I coached Jay for the Olympias. And so we go back a long ways, you know. Thank you. But he did all the hard work.
He claims it's the best I ever looked.
You still use the foot stomp picture, Jay. It's the foot stomp.
It was the last time I looked good. I had to, you know, use that picture.
And he had the best hair on stage that year. You know, almost as good as yours with the red hair up there. His was blonde.
I like that haircut.
Now, Hani, what kind of motivation do you use with your guys to get them to stick to that very strict diet and exercise schedule?
Honestly, everybody's different. So, you know, I've coached Steve, you know, for many years, you know, Jay, and everybody has different triggers that allow them to take their body to the next level. What motivates Steve doesn't motivate Jay, which doesn't, you know, Phil. Everybody's different. And specifically, you know, the key is to try to figure out exactly what those points are for that particular person. because sometimes a little bit of negative reinforcement works, where you're a little harder, and sometimes you need to be a little bit more on the positive side. So it really depends on the personality type you're working with. Jay's a consummate professional. He's been around for many, many years. So for him, you know, he knew what it took to get through it because he's done it so many times. So it wasn't like, you know, it was just mostly just making sure that you're doing all the, crossing the T's and dotting the I's constantly. It wasn't a matter of having to really make sure that they're not sticking to the diet, you know, because you knew that they were going to.
And Danny, you are a champion bodybuilder, but also you are an amazing trainer. When it's time for you to be in the spotlight as a competitor, who trains you and what kind of motivation do they give to you to rise above that normal level that you would put yourself in?
Well, you know, I've always done my own nutrition and contest prep and, you know, training. I've been fortunate enough to be at Gold's Venice for the last 25 years, so I have a lot of eyes and people that have achieved a lot of things. And, you know, that place everybody rolls through, that's somebody, so it's really motivating, and you can always ask advice and stuff, you know, which is really cool. But the thing is that I would have to say that, you know, there's certain times where I wish I was with a coach or somebody, because a lot of times I feel like I only know what I know, you know, and that's a lot. I've been through a lot, you know. I've seen over the last 3 decades of bodybuilders, you know, all the way from training with Flex Wheeler back in the early 90s, being in the hotel rooms with so many athletes from the national level to the Olympia hotel rooms the night before. You know, I've been privileged to do that, being friends with all of these guys for the last 30 years. So I've seen almost every single protocol out there and the extremes that people do, and, you know, genetically what others are gifted, they don't have to go as extreme. And, you know, so I get a lot of that, and I kind of process it. You know, I come from a background where, you know, I'm a registered nurse also. I haven't practiced in many years, but I have more of a clinical background, so I always try to assess, you know, the long-term benefits or I would say adverse effects of what you do. And if you want to go long-term, then it's about being smart and being, you know, doing the long game. But, you know, that's the thing is sometimes you get tired and you need someone to kind of push you. And, you know, just to go in the gym and grab anybody, top guys to work out with is fine, but at a certain point, they're not always going to be there. So you really have to dig deep. And just like actually, you know, recently I've been having to go to another gym just to get my mindset, to reset myself. You know, like I'll probably go to Eric's gym and check out the vibe there, but to me now it's becoming like Gold's Venice is becoming a hindrance to me, because I know so many people and everyone wants to talk, and, you know, I have so much wiggle room where I need the structure, I need just the headspace to myself, you know, to do that. And that's really what I'm finding is the hardest thing for me now, is to try to push to that next level of being better than I was. And it's getting a little bit frustrating, and I'm having to really dig a lot deeper, you know, because of the motivation factor, and also just having another set of eyes where I don't have to worry about, you know, overthinking something. So, you know, I've never had anybody, so it made me learn a lot too, you know, about myself, rather than just depending on someone all these years of competing. I've been competing for almost 30 years actually. My first competition was 1989. So I've done just about every single protocol out there, and with the guest posing and stuff I've had, I've got to practice a lot of protocol. You know, the last week or so is the most important part. These guys, they work so hard, and they don't know what they're doing. The last week of getting ready for a competition, they just blow it. They look better 2 weeks before in the gym. You know, that's the frustrating part about the bodybuilding part of it, because you could do your homework and everything, but the competition part is almost like Russian roulette. That's really a tough thing. You really have to know your body, and you have to trust the process a lot of times. You know, I get so frustrated seeing these young guys all over the board with their contest prep, and they work so hard. You know, and that's one of the benefits. I could probably nail it within 85 to 90% of looking like pretty good, because I've done so many shows. But there's still that possibility in my head where I could take it to the next level of something that I've never trusted in doing other than just what I know. So, you know, coaches are good, but don't get fixated on that. You have to take the little voice in your head and listen to that also. kind of put the two together. That's really what's important. You don't want to just go blindly listening to someone, because it is your body, and you're the one that has to make the decision for it.
Fantastic. Now, Steve, on any given morning, you wake up, you've had a hard workout the day before, you're exhausted, but you need to get to the gym that day. What motivates you to push through the pain, rise to the occasion to be the champion that you are?
My wife. No, I think as a champion or somebody that wants to better themselves, you continually you gotta have a drive within. You can't necessarily try to motivate you off somebody else, and everything I think we do, like in bodybuilding, it's not really a team sport, it's about you at the end of the day, and you have to put in the effort and you have to sacrifice, and I think you really, to be a champion, you have to have that inner drive, that kind of heart that people say, to take things to the next level and to reach your goals. And for me, it's always want to better myself, and it's not necessarily like I got to beat Phil or I have to beat Jay, and you go into a show wanting to win, and you have to have a winner's mindset, but you can't ultimately make it about that. You have to say at the end of the day, you gave it your all, and you're 100%. And as Hani Snapchats over here.
All right, how great are these panelists? Come on. I want to thank these panelists. I want to thank Danny. I want to thank Jay. I want to thank Steve. I want to thank Hani. Thank you guys all for being here. And if you want to ask some questions, they'll be at their booths. Thanks again. Enjoy the Fit Expo.